The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster. And Mark will never, ever bet against Trump again. And I want to just pray for Arnold, if we can, for those ratings. Okay.
President Donald Trump attending and speaking at the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington today. Joining us from Washington, CBS News correspondent Stephen Portnoy. So besides that, Stephen, what did the president have to say?
The President of the United States attended the annual prayer breakfast, which is a tradition that goes back so many decades. I think it goes back to the middle of the 20th century. And he told the gathering that he has been struck by the expressions of faith among his supporters, how often people come up to him and say that they're praying for him. And he talked about what faith means in respect of the wealthy and successful people that he knows. He says so many of them are very, very miserable and unhappy people. But he said that people with less money who are happier are the ones who are prayerful. And so he talked about what he had learned from that. But I think what's getting a lot of attention and raising some eyebrows is that he asked the room to pray for Arnold Schwarzenegger and his ratings on The Apprentice.
That was a little bit out of place. And the other thing that's generating a lot of comments is the fact that here he is at the National Prayer Breakfast, and he's talking about tough phone calls with world leaders.
He has been reported to have these very terse conversations with, of all people, the Prime Minister of Australia and, as we've known, the President of Mexico. The Washington Post this morning reports that the call with Australia was described by President Trump as the worst call he's had by far, because Australia wants the United States to live up to its promise under Barack Obama to resettle about 1,200 refugees that have been stationed in Australia for some time. And apparently President Obama promised that these refugees would be resettled in the United States. Well, President Trump, as you know, Rod, has imposed a 4-month ban on refugee resettlement, and he has no interest, apparently, in resettling these refugees, and certainly no time soon. So apparently it was a very terse phone call. Mr. Trump at the prayer breakfast said this morning, when you hear about the tough phone calls I'm having, don't worry about it, folks. We have got to be tough, folks.
There you have Stephen Portnoy, CBS News in Washington. Thanks.